What would you do if someone's life depended on your next decision? Tonight was supposed to be just another shift for Malik. Pick up passengers, drop them off, earn enough to help with his mom's medical bills. But when a woman with tear-stained cheeks and terrified eyes slides into his back seat, everything changes. She's looking over her shoulder, trembling, desperate to get away from someone or something. What Malik doesn't know is that by accepting this ride request, he's about to be pulled into a dangerous game of cat and mouse through rain-slicked city streets, a game where the wrong turn could have deadly consequences because sometimes the monsters aren't hiding in the shadows. Sometimes they're following right behind you, headlights gleaming, just waiting for you to make a mistake. Malik Jones tapped, his fingers on the steering wheel, staring at the raindrops racing down his windshield. His Uber app showed only 2 rides completed tonight. Not enough. Not nearly enough. Mom's medicine costs were going up again. The doctor had called yesterday, with news that wasn't good. Malik blinked hard and focused on the wet Philadelphia streets ahead. Just 3 more rides, he whispered to himself. 3 more, and I can call it a night. His phone dinged. A new ride request from the Grand Hotel downtown. Malik hit accept and pulled away from the curb, windshield wipers beating back the rain. The streets were empty at this hour, almost midnight on a Tuesday. Malik turned up the radio to keep himself awake. He'd been driving since 4 this afternoon. His eyes felt heavy, but his wallet felt lighter. The Grand Hotel stood like a giant birthday cake, all lit up with fancy lights even in the rain. Doormen, in long coats, stood under the awning. Malik pulled his beat-up Honda to the curb and waited. A minute passed, then another. He was about to call the passenger when the hotel's glass doors burst open. A woman rushed out, no umbrella, no coat, just a blue dress and a small backpack clutched to her chest. She looked left, then right, her eyes wide and searching. Malik rolled down his window. "Uber for Reese?" The woman's head snapped toward him. Her face relaxed for just a second before she hurried to his car. She yanked open the back door and slid in, bringing the smell of rain and expensive perfume. "Drive, please," she said, her voice shaking. "Just drive." Malik turned to look at her. Hotel guests were usually bossy, but something in her voice was different. That's when he noticed her face. Her mascara had made dark rivers down her cheeks. Her eyes were red and puffy. She'd been crying, was still crying, actually. Silent tears tracked down her face as she stared out the back window at the hotel entrance. "You okay back there?" Malik asked, not pulling away yet. The woman, Reese, finally looked at him. "Please, I put the address in the app. Can we just go? Now?" Malik hesitated. Something wasn't right. But it wasn't his business, was it? He was just the driver. "Sure thing," he said, pulling away from the curb. In his rearview mirror, he watched as Reese sank low in her seat, still watching out the back window. The app showed her destination was in Wynwood, about 20 minutes away. Malik drove in silence for a few blocks, the only sounds being the swish of the wipers and Reese's occasional sniffles. He glanced in the mirror again. Tears were streaming down her face now, but she was trying to wipe them away quickly, like she didn't want him to notice. "There's tissues in the pocket behind the passenger seat," Malik said gently. Reese jumped a little, like she'd forgotten he was there. "Thank you," she whispered, reaching for them. As she did, Malik noticed her hands were shaking. "Bad. Listen," he said, "I don't mean to pry, but are you sure you're okay? You seem scared. I can take you to the police station instead if—" "No!" Reese's voice was sharp, then softer. No police, please. I just need to get home. Malik nodded, focusing back on the road. The rain was coming down harder now, making the empty streets gleam under the streetlights. In the mirror, he saw Reese pull out her phone. The screen lit up her tear-stained face as she checked something. Whatever she saw made her breath catch. Fresh tears filled her eyes, and her hand flew to her mouth to stifle a sob. Malik felt his chest tighten. He'd seen this before. His sister Layla had looked just like this 3 years ago, when she was trying to leave that jerk boyfriend of hers. At the next red light, Malik turned slightly in his seat. "Miss, I don't know what's going on, but if you're in trouble, I can help. My sister went through something bad a few years back, and—" The light turned green before he could finish. As he pressed the gas, he noticed headlights in his mirror. A big vehicle, moving fast behind them. Reese noticed it too. She suddenly ducked down in her seat, making herself small. "He found me," she whispered, so quiet Malik almost didn't hear it. The large black SUV pulled up beside them at the next light. Malik couldn't see the driver clearly through the rain, but he could feel someone staring at them from the other vehicle. Reese was practically on the floor now, her body curled up tight, like a child hiding from monsters. The light changed. Malik pressed the gas harder than necessary, pulling ahead of the SUV. For 3 blocks, the SUV stayed right behind them. Too close. Following. Malik's hands gripped the wheel tighter. This wasn't just a crying woman in his back seat anymore. She was in danger. Real danger. And now, maybe he was too. Malik made a quick right turn without signaling. The SUV swerved to follow them, tires splashing through puddles. Reese let out a small whimper from the floor of the back seat. "Stay down," Malik said, his voice calmer than he felt. "I'm gonna try something." He made 2 more quick turns, then pulled into the parking lot of a bright all-night gas station. He parked near the front door where cameras and lights would catch everything. The SUV drove slowly past the gas station entrance, then sped up and disappeared down the street. Malik let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "I think we're good for now." Reese slowly lifted herself back onto the seat, her eyes darting around like a trapped animal's. "He'll be back," she whispered. "He always comes back." "Who is he?" Malik asked, turning to face her fully now. Reese shook her head, wiping fresh tears. "No one. It doesn't matter. Can we just keep going? Please?" Malik hesitated. The right thing would be to call the police. But he remembered how his sister had begged him not to, years ago. How calling them had only made things worse for her. "Okay," he said finally. "But I'm taking a different route to your place, just to be safe." He pulled back onto the road, watching carefully for the black SUV. The rain had slowed to a drizzle now, making it easier to spot cars following them. "So," Malik said, trying to sound casual, "you coming from a party or something?" Reese looked down at her blue dress. "A work thing. At the hotel." "Oh, yeah. What kind of work do you do?" "Marketing," she said quietly. "I design websites for companies." "That's cool," Malik said. "My buddy Leon does something with computers too. Always telling me I should learn coding, but I'm more of a hands-on guy, you know?" Reese didn't answer. She was checking her phone again, and Malik saw her face go pale in the glow of the screen. "Everything okay?" he asked. "He knows I left." "He's—" She swallowed hard. "He's really angry." Her phone dinged with another message. She read it, and her hands started shaking so badly she dropped the phone into her lap. "Hey," Malik said gently. "You don't have to go home if it's not safe. I can take you somewhere else. A friend's place, maybe?" Reese looked up, her eyes wide with surprise, like she hadn't considered that option. Then her face fell again. He'll just find me. He always does. She reached for another tissue, and as she did, her sleeve rode up. Even in the dim light, Malik could see the dark purple bruise circling her wrist, like an ugly bracelet. His stomach tightened. This was worse than he thought. Listen, he started, but was cut off by headlights behind them. Bright, high beams, flooding his car with light. The SUV was back. Reese saw it too and froze in terror. It's him. It's Vince, she whispered, her voice breaking. Malik's mind raced. They were still 10 minutes from Reese's address. 10 minutes with this guy right on their tail. How well do you know this, Vince? Malik asked, speeding up a little. We dated for 8 months, Reese said, her words coming faster now. He works security at the hotel. He has friends everywhere. Police, the rideshare company. That's probably how he found me. He tracked my Uber. The SUV sped up too, staying right behind them. At the next red light, Malik had no choice but to stop. The SUV pulled up right beside them, passenger window rolling down. Reese ducked again, pressing herself against the car door farthest from the SUV. Malik didn't look over. He kept his eyes straight ahead, pretending not to notice. But in his peripheral vision, he could see a man leaning across the SUV's front seat, trying to look into Malik's car. The light turned green. Malik hit the gas. The SUV stayed with them, sometimes pulling alongside, sometimes riding their bumper. The man inside kept trying to get a clear view into Malik's back seat. He's not going to stop, Reese said, her voice hollow. This is my fault. I should never have tried to leave. Leave? Leave what? Him. The city. Everything. Reese took a shaky breath. I got a job offer in Seattle. I was supposed to fly out tonight. My suitcase is still at the hotel. Vince found my plane ticket receipt in my email. A car horn blared behind them. The SUV had gotten so close it almost hit them. Malik could see the driver now in his mirror, a big man with a buzz cut, one hand on the wheel, one hand holding a phone to his ear. We're almost to your place, Malik said, checking the app. Is there someone there who can help? Reese shook her head, her face crumpling. I live alone, and I can't go there. Not with him following us. He has a key. Malik's heart sank. This was getting more dangerous by the minute. Okay, he said, making a split-second decision. We're not going to your place. Reese looked up. Where are we going? Malik made a hard left, cutting across traffic. Horns blared. The SUV tried to follow, but got stuck behind another car. Somewhere safe, Malik said. Just trust me. Reese nodded, her eyes still wide with fear, but now showing a flicker of hope, too. Malik took a series of quick turns through the wet streets, checking his mirror after each one. For a few minutes, he thought they'd lost the SUV. Then, 3 blocks. Later, those same bright headlights appeared behind them again. He's back, Reese said, her voice tight. Malik gripped the steering wheel harder. This guy doesn't give up, does he? They were in a residential area now. Rows of narrow houses lined the streets, most with dark windows. It was nearly 1 a.m. and the rain had picked up again, drumming on the car roof. According to the app, they were only 5 minutes from Reese's address. Malik glanced at the navigation, then deliberately turned the wrong way at the next intersection. You missed the turn, Reese said. I know. I'm checking something. Malik watched his mirror. Sure enough, the SUV made the same wrong turn. He's, definitely following us, Malik said. Not just going the same direction. Reese hugged her backpack to her chest like a shield. I told you, Vince won't stop until he finds me. Why's he so mad about you leaving? People break up all the time. Reese was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. It's not just about breaking up. He likes to control everything I do, who I talk to, what I wear, where I go. She took a shaky breath. When I got the Seattle job offer, I didn't tell him. I knew he'd never let me go. Let you? Malik frowned. You're a grown woman. He doesn't get to let you do anything. You don't understand, Reese said. The last time I tried to leave, it was bad. Really bad. I ended up in the hospital. Malik's hands tightened on the wheel. People like Vince made his blood boil. Bullies who used their size and strength to scare others. So, what was the plan tonight? Malik asked. My flight was at 11:30. I packed while Vince was at work. I was going to leave him a note after I was already gone. Reese wiped at fresh tears. But he came to my hotel room early, said he wanted to surprise me. He saw my suitcase. Then he checked my email on my laptop before I could stop him. And he found your flight info. Reese nodded. He went crazy, throwing things, yelling. He grabbed me. Her hand went to her bruised wrist. He said if I tried to leave, he'd make sure I regretted it forever. How'd you get away? Housekeeping knocked. When he went to the door, I ran out the bathroom door to the service elevator. I called an Uber as soon as I got to the lobby. Malik nodded, smart thinking under pressure. The SUV was still behind them, staying 2 car lengths back now, like Vince thought they wouldn't notice him if he wasn't right on their bumper. I need to call the police, Reese said suddenly, reaching for her phone. You said he has friends on the force. Not all of them. Maybe if I... Her words were cut off as the SUV suddenly sped up, pulling alongside them. The passenger window rolled down, and a man's face appeared. Square jaw, buzz cut, eyes blazing with anger even through the rain. Reese, he shouted. Pull! Over now! Reese shrank back against her seat. Don't stop, she begged Malik. Please, don't stop. Malik had no intention of stopping. He pressed the gas, but the SUV matched his speed. Vince yanked his steering wheel toward them, his SUV swerving, into their lane. Malik had to brake hard to avoid being hit. Horns blared behind them. He's trying to run us off the road, Reese cried. Malik spotted an opening and made a sharp right turn. The SUV couldn't react in time and shot past them. By the time Vince could turn around, Malik had made 2 more quick turns. I think we lost him, Malik said, breathing hard. For now, at least. But he wasn't taking chances. He continued making random turns, working his way toward a busier part of town. After 5 tense minutes with no sign of the SUV, Malik finally relaxed a little. I'm sorry, Reese said suddenly. I got you involved in my mess. You could have been hurt. Hey, not your fault, Malik said. That guy's the one who should be sorry. They drove in silence for a moment. Then Reese spoke again, her voice steadier now. I can't go home. He knows where I live. What about a friend's place? Reese shook her head. He knows all my friends. He made me stop seeing most of them months ago. Family? My mom lives in Florida. My brother's overseas in the military. Malik thought for a moment, then nodded to Aito, himself, making a decision. I know somewhere we can go. My cousin Daria's place. Vince won't know about her. Are you sure? I don't want to cause trouble for your family. Daria used to be a social worker. She's helped people in your situation before. She won't mind. Reese looked out the window at the unfamiliar streets passing by. Where are we going? Other side of town. We'll take some side streets to make sure we're not followed. Reese was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached forward and touched Malik's shoulder lightly. "Thank you," she said. "Most people wouldn't have helped. They would have just dropped me off and driven away." Malik met her eyes in the rearview mirror. "Well, I'm not most people." As they drove toward Daria's house, Malik kept checking his mirrors. No sign of the black SUV, but somehow he knew this wasn't over. A man like Vince wouldn't give up so easily. The real question was, what would he do next? Malik spotted a 24-hour diner up ahead, its neon "open" sign glowing like a beacon through the rain. "Change of plans," he said, pulling into the parking lot. "Let's grab some coffee first. We need to think this through." Reese looked nervously at the diner. "Is it safe to stop?" "Safer than driving around all night," Malik said. "Plus, he won't try anything with witnesses around." The diner was mostly empty. Just a tired-looking waitress, a cook visible through the kitchen window, and an old man reading a newspaper in a corner booth. Malik led Reese to a table near the back, where they could see the entrance and parking lot. A waitress with gray hair and kind eyes approached their table. Her name tag read, Doris. "What can I get you two?" she asked. "Just coffee, please," Malik said. "For both of us." When Doris left, Reese wrapped her arms around herself, like she was cold even though the diner was warm. The overhead lights showed her face clearly for the first time. She had a small cut on her lip that Malik hadn't noticed in the dark car. "Your lip," he said quietly. Reese's hand went to her mouth. "It's nothing. Doesn't look like nothing." Doris returned with 2 mugs of coffee. Reese wrapped her hands around hers, soaking in the warmth. After the waitress left, Reese took a deep breath. "I should explain. You deserve to know what you've gotten into." Malik nodded. "I'm listening." "I met Vince last year at a company event. He was working security. He seemed so normal at first. Charming, even." She stared into her coffee. "We started dating, and things were good. Then he lost his job. Not the hotel one. A different security job. That's when he changed." "How?" Malik asked. "He got so jealous. Started checking my phone, following me to work, getting angry if I was 5 minutes late coming home." Reese's voice shook. At first, he just yelled. Then he started breaking things. Then, she touched her bruised wrist. "My sister went through something similar," Malik said. "Her boyfriend seemed great too until they moved in together. Then he showed his true colors." "What happened with her?" Reese asked. "She stayed too long," Malik said, his face darkening. "By the time she left, she had 3 broken ribs and a fractured cheekbone." "I'm sorry," Reese whispered. "She's okay now, living in Arizona with a good man who treats her right. But I promised myself I'd never ignore the signs again if I saw someone else going through it." Reese was quiet for a moment. "I tried to leave once before," she finally said. 3 months ago. I packed a bag while Vince was at work. My friend Jamie was going to pick me up." "What happened?" "Vince came home early, caught me with my suitcase. She swallowed hard. "He threw me against the wall. Said if I ever tried to leave him again, he'd make sure I couldn't run away." Malik's fists clenched under the table. Men like Vince made him sick. "After that," Reese continued, "he made me quit my job. Said I could work from home as a freelancer instead. He checked my computer every day, read all my emails, but he couldn't monitor my phone calls. When the Seattle company called about my application, I hid in the bathroom with the shower running to talk to them." "Smart," Malik said. "I was so careful planning this escape. I saved cash, little by little. mailed some clothes to a post office box in Seattle. I thought I had considered everything. Tears welled in her eyes again. But I was stupid to check the ticket confirmation on my laptop. You're not stupid, Malik said firmly. He's the one who's wrong, not you. Through the diner window, Malik watched cars passing on the wet street. No sign of the black SUV, but that didn't mean Vince had given up. So, what's the plan now? He asked. We can't just hide forever. Reese wiped her eyes. I need to get out of the city. Tonight, if possible. I have some cash. Maybe I could take a bus or... The diner door opened, and both Reese and Malik tensed. But it was just a young couple coming in, laughing and shaking, rain from their coats. Reese exhaled slowly. He knows where I live, where I shop, where my friends live. He even knows my favorite coffee shop. Nowhere in this city is safe for me. Malik thought for a moment. My cousin Daria's place is still our best bet for tonight. She lives in a secure building. Then tomorrow, we can figure out how to get you out of town. Why are you helping me? Reese asked suddenly. You don't even know me. Malik looked at her, really looked at her. Beyond the smeared makeup and tears, he saw courage. Someone who had endured months of fear, but was still fighting to be free. Because everyone deserves a chance to escape a bad situation, he said simply. And sometimes they need a little help to do it. Reese nodded, a ghost of a smile on her face for the first time. Okay, she said. Let's go to your cousin's. As they stood to leave, Malik's phone buzzed with a text. He checked it and froze. What is it? Reese asked, alarmed by his expression. Malik showed her his phone. The text was from an unknown number. Where did you take her? Tell me now, or things get ugly. Malik stared at the message, a chill running down his spine. How did he get your number? Reese whispered, her face pale. I don't know. Maybe he has a friend at the rideshare company, like you said. Malik turned off his phone. We need to go. Now. They hurried to the register. As Malik paid for the coffee, he leaned in close to Doris, the waitress. If a guy with a buzz cut comes, in asking about us, could you not tell him which way we went? He asked quietly. Doris looked from Malik to Reese, her eyes lingering on Reese's bruised wrist and cut lip. Understanding flashed across her face. Honey, I've seen that look before, she said to Reese. Don't you worry. I never saw either of you tonight. Thank you, Reese whispered. Outside, the rain had almost stopped, but puddles still covered the parking lot. Malik scanned the area before leading Reese back to his car. He could be tracking your phone too, Malik said as they got in. Maybe we should turn it off. Reese was already ahead of him, powering down her device. Do you think he knows where your cousin lives? No way. I never even mentioned Daria to any of my passengers before. As Malik pulled out of the diner parking lot, a thought struck him. But he might be tracking my car through the app. Can't you just log out? Yeah, but first. Malik pulled over to the curb and opened the app. He quickly accepted a new ride request that was nowhere near where they were headed. What are you doing? Reese asked, giving him false information. Now he'll think I'm picking up someone across town. Malik logged out of the app and started driving again. Just to be safe, though, let's not go straight to Daria's. For the next 20 minutes, they drove a zigzag route through quiet neighborhoods, doubling back occasionally to make sure they weren't followed. No sign of the black SUV. I think we're clear, Malik finally said, turning onto a busier street, lined with small businesses, most closed for the night. Suddenly, Reese grabbed his arm. There! That's him! Parked across from a late-night convenience store was the black SUV. Vince wasn't in it. but through the store's windows, they could see him talking to the clerk inside, showing something on his phone. "He's showing them my picture," Reese said, ducking down again. "He's checking all the open places nearby." Malik made a quick U-turn before Vince could spot them. "He's smart, knows we need supplies or help." "What do we do now?" Reese asked, her voice shaking again. Malik thought for a moment. "New plan. We can't use my car anymore. It's too risky. And we can't call another Uber or taxi, since he might be watching for that too." "So we're stuck?" "Not exactly." Malik drove to a bus stop several blocks away. "This bus goes downtown. From there, we can catch a different bus to get near Daria's neighborhood." "Will the buses still be running this late?" "The downtown ones run all night. We might have to wait a bit, but it's safer than driving now." They parked behind a small grocery store, out of sight from the main road, and hurried to the bus stop. Malik kept scanning the area, jumping at every car that passed. After 10 tense minutes, the bus arrived. They climbed aboard, Malik paying for both of them, and found seats at the back. Only a few other passengers were on board. A man in a work uniform dozing off, 2 college-aged kids with headphones, and an elderly woman with shopping bags. "What about your car?" Reese asked as the bus pulled away. "I'll come back for it tomorrow. Right now, getting you somewhere safe is more important." Reese looked at him with wonder in her eyes. "You're risking a lot for a stranger. Maybe we were strangers a few hours ago. Don't feel that way now." The bus lumbered through the late-night streets, stopping occasionally to let passengers on or off. Each time the doors opened, both Malik and Reese tensed, but Vince never appeared. Downtown was still awake, with bars closing and people wandering the streets. They transferred to another bus, this one heading to the east side of the city, where Daria lived. While they waited for the second bus, Malik used a payphone to call his cousin. "Daria, it's Malik. I need a favor. A big one." He explained the ID situation in quick, hushed tones. From Reese's side, she could only hear his half of the conversation. "Yes, tonight. Right now, actually. No, I don't think he followed us, but yeah, she's pretty shaken up. You still have that fold-out couch?" "Thanks, Dee. I owe you." When he hung up, he gave Reese a reassuring smile. "Daria says we can stay tonight. She's waiting up for us." Will she be safe if Vince somehow tracks us there? Daria's building has security. And trust me, my cousin can handle herself. Their bus arrived, nearly empty this time. As they settled into their seats, Reese suddenly grabbed Malik's hand. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Not just of tonight, of tomorrow, and the day after. How long will I have to keep running?" Malik squeezed her hand. "You won't be running forever. We'll figure this out. One step at a time." The bus wound through the sleeping city. Through the window, Reese watched apartment buildings and houses drift by, wondering what it must be like to feel safe inside your own home. "When we get to Daria's," Malik said, breaking into her thoughts, "we'll come up with a real plan. Not just hiding, but getting you out of town for good. Somewhere Vince can't find you." Reese nodded, wanting to believe it was possible. As the bus turned onto a quiet residential street, Malik's phone, still turned off, felt heavy in his pocket. He wondered how many more threatening texts were waiting for him, and what Vince would do when he realized his messages were being ignored. Some men gave up when they hit a wall. Others just hit harder. The bus dropped them off 3 blocks from Daria's apartment building. It was almost 3 a.m. now, the streets empty and quiet. They walked quickly, Malik leading the way, both of them jumping at every small sound. "That's it," Malik said, pointing to a 6-story brick building with a small garden out front. "Daria's on the 4th floor." They hurried to the front entrance. Malik pressed the buzzer for apartment 412, and seconds later, a woman's voice came through the speaker. "Who is it?" "It's us. Dee?" The door buzzed, and they quickly went inside. The lobby was small but clean, with bright lights and a security camera in the corner. They took the elevator to the 4th floor, where a woman was waiting in an open doorway. Daria Jones looked nothing like her cousin. Where Malik was tall and lanky, Daria was short with curves. Her hair was in dozens of tiny braids pulled into a ponytail, and she wore pajama pants with a Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt. "Get in here, you two," she said, ushering them inside before locking her door with 3 separate locks. Daria's apartment was cozy and colorful, with cooking books stacked on the kitchen counter and a small desk covered with paperwork in the corner. "This is Reese," Malik said. "Reese, my cousin Daria." "Thank you for letting us come here," Reese said, her voice small with exhaustion. Daria's face softened. "Any friend of Malik's is welcome here." She gestured to the couch. "Sit. I'll make tea. You both look like you've been through it tonight." While Daria busied herself in the kitchen, Malik finally turned his phone back on. Immediately, it buzzed with a flood of messages, all from the same unknown number. "Where are you? Answer me now. I know you're still with her. You don't know what she's really like." Last chance, and the most recent one, sent just 30 minutes ago. "Found your car. I'll find you next." Malik showed the messages to Reese, whose hands started shaking again. "He found your car," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I've ruined everything." "Hey, it's just a car," Malik said. "And we're safe here." Daria returned with 3 mugs of tea and a concerned expression. "What's wrong?" Malik explained about the messages and his abandoned car. Daria frowned. "This guy sounds dangerous. Maybe we should call the police." Reese shook her head quickly. "He has friends on the force, and even if they did arrest him, he'd just make bail and come after me even angrier." "She's right," Malik said. "I've seen it before with my sister. The system doesn't always help with guys like this." Daria sighed, then sat down across from them. "Okay, so what's the plan? You can't hide forever." "I need to leave town," Reese said. "I lost my chance to fly to Seattle tonight, but maybe tomorrow I can try again." "Using the airport might be risky," Daria said. "If this Vince guy works security and has connections, he could be watching the terminals." They all fell silent, thinking. Then Daria snapped her fingers. "Wait, I have a catering job tomorrow morning. Today, actually, at the train station. I'm providing breakfast for some railway staff meeting. I have to be there by 5:30 a.m. Malik caught on quickly. "You could bring Reese with you. She could catch a train to another city, then fly out from there." "Exactly," Daria said. "My van has tinted windows, and I could hide you among the food trays in the back." Reese looked. Between them, hope creeping back into her face. "Do you think that would work?" "It's worth a shot," Daria said. "First train out is at 6:15 to New York. From there, you could catch a flight anywhere." For the first time since they'd met her, Reese smiled. A real smile that reached her eyes. That could actually work. Daria stood up. "It's settled then. Now, both of you need some rest. Reese, you can take my bed. I'll sleep on the fold-out couch with Malik." "I couldn't take your bed," Reese protested. "Yes, you can. After what you've been through, you need it more than I do." While Daria got fresh. "Sheets!" Malik checked his phone again. 3 new messages had arrived. I talked to your rideshare company. They suspended your account for safety concerns. How will you make money now? Is she worth losing your job over? I have friends everywhere. Remember that. Cold dread settled in Malik's stomach. Vince wasn't bluffing about his connections. Somehow, he'd managed to get Malik's account suspended. More messages? Reese asked, seeing his expression. Malik tried to smile. Nothing important. But Reese wasn't fooled. She took the phone from his hand and read the messages, her face crumpling. He got you fired because of me, she whispered. First your car, now your job. It's not your fault, Malik said firmly. None of this is. And my account is probably just suspended temporarily. It'll be fine. Daria returned with sheets and pillows. Bed's all ready for you, Reese. Bathroom's down the hall if you want to clean up. When Reese went to get ready for bed, Daria turned to Malik. You sure about all this, cuz? Sounds like this guy is seriously bad news. I couldn't just leave her, Dee. You didn't see how scared she was. Still is. Daria nodded. I get it. I've seen that look too many times when I was a social worker. She patted his shoulder. You did the right thing. Now let's just make sure everybody stays safe until she's out of town. Later, as Malik lay on the fold-out couch, too wired to sleep despite his exhaustion, he wondered if Vince was still out, there searching for them, and what he'd do if, when, he found out they'd slipped away again. Some predators never gave up the hunt. Malik must have dozed off eventually, because Daria was shaking him awake in what felt like minutes later. It's 4:30, she whispered. We need to get moving. The apartment was still dark, the sky outside barely beginning to lighten. Reese was already up, her hair damp from a shower, wearing borrowed clothes from Daria that were a bit too small for her. Did you sleep at all? Malik asked her. A little, Reese said, though the dark circles under her eyes suggested otherwise. Daria moved around the kitchen, loading large metal trays of food into insulated carriers. I made coffee, she said, pointing to a thermos. We'll need it. Freak. 4:45. They were ready. Daria peeked out her apartment door, checking the hallway before motioning them forward. The building was silent as they took the elevator down to the garage level where Daria's white catering van was parked. Malik helped load the food carriers into the back, then created a small space behind them where Reese could hide. It's not comfortable, but it's just for 20 minutes, he told her. Reese crawled into the space without complaint. After everything you've both done, I can handle a little discomfort. Daria closed the van's back doors, and they climbed into the front seats. The garage door rumbled open, and they drove out into the pre-dawn darkness. The streets were nearly empty this early. A few delivery trucks, a garbage collector, a lone jogger braving the damp morning. No sign of a black SUV. Maybe he gave up, Daria said hopefully. Malik shook his head. Guys like that don't give up. They just regroup. At the next stoplight, Malik turned his phone back on, bracing himself for more messages. Sure enough, there were several new ones, all sent in the middle of the night. Still ignoring me? Bad choice. I talked to someone who saw you get on a bus. Where did you go? I'll find her no matter what. No one takes what's mine. The last message had been sent just 20 minutes ago. I know someone who lives in your cousin's building. Interesting. Coincidence, isn't it? Malik felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. Daria, he knows about your place. Someone in your building told him. What? How would he even know to ask about me? Maybe he got your name from the rideshare company, or checked my social media. Malik turned to look out the back window. I think we need to... That's when he saw it. 3 cars back. The black, SUV, he's behind us, Malik said, his voice tight. Don't speed up or act like we've seen him. Daria's hands clenched on the steering wheel. What do we do? Take the next right. If he follows, we'll know for sure it's him. Daria turned at the next corner. The SUV turned too. It's definitely him, Malik confirmed. Reese, stay down. We're being followed. Oh, God, came Reese's muffled voice from behind the food carriers. I knew this would happen. Don't worry, Malik said with more confidence than he felt. We'll lose him. Daria took another turn, then another, driving away from the train station. The SUV stayed with them, sometimes dropping back, sometimes getting closer. He's toying with us, Daria said. He knows we've seen him. They were in a warehouse district. Now, the street's wider but emptier. Suddenly, the SUV sped up, pulling alongside them. Don't look at him, Malik warned, but it was hard not to. Vince was alone in the SUV, his face a mask of rage. He yanked his steering wheel toward them, his front bumper scraping the side of Daria's van with a horrible screech of metal. He's trying to run us off the road again, Daria cried, fighting to keep control. Hold on, Malik shouted to Reese. Daria floored the gas pedal. The van lurched forward, but the SUV matched their speed. Vince rammed them again, harder this time. The van swerved, tires squealing. I can't shake him, Daria yelled. Malik thought fast. Take that alley up ahead. His SUV's too wide. Daria made a sharp turn into a narrow alley between two brick buildings. The van barely fit, its side mirrors scraping against the walls. Behind them, they heard the SUV's brakes screech as Vince was forced to stop. The alley opened onto another street. Daria turned right and sped up, putting distance between them and where they'd left Vince. We lost him for now, Malik said, checking behind them. But he'll find another way around. We can't go to the train station now, Daria said. He'll just follow us there. But we have to, Reese said, poking her head up from the back. It's my only chance to get away. Malik checked the time. 5:12 a.m. We need a new plan. Daria, your catering job. Forget the job, Daria said firmly. This is more important. Malik thought for a moment. Actually, your job might be our best cover. Vince doesn't know exactly what you do, just that you're my cousin. If you show up at the train station like nothing's wrong, with your catering, stuff. While you and Reese slip in another way, Daria finished. That could work. But how do we lose him first? Reese asked. Malik smiled for the first time that morning. You know, before I started driving for Uber, I wanted to be a race car driver. Even took some classes. Let's see if I still remember a few tricks. He and Daria switched places. Malik took them on a wild route through the awakening city. Sharp. Turns, doubling back, using one-way streets and narrow alleys. Twice they spotted the SUV in the distance, but each time, Malik's driving skills helped them disappear again. By 5:25, they were circling back toward the train station. No sign of Vince behind them. I think we lost him for real this time, Malik said. Daria looked at the digital clock on the van's dashboard. The staff meeting starts in 5 minutes, and the first train leaves in 50. If we're going to do this, it has to be now. Okay, Malik said. Here's what we'll do. As the van approached the station, none of them noticed the black SUV parked half a block away, its engine off, its driver watching them through binoculars. Here's the plan, Malik said, as Daria parked in the loading zone. Daria goes in through the staff entrance with her catering stuff. I'll scout inside first, make sure it's clear. Then I'll come back for Reese. They all nodded. Daria grabbed her work badge and the first of her food carriers. Be careful, she said, before heading inside. Malik turned to Reese, still hiding in the back. Give me 5 minutes. Don't get out until I come back, okay? Okay, Reese whispered, fear and hope battling in her eyes. Malik slipped out and walked casually toward the main entrance. The station was starting to fill with early morning commuters. He scanned the crowd, looking for Vince's buzz cut and broad shoulders. No sign of him. He walked through the main hall, checking each waiting area, each line of benches. Nothing. Maybe they really had lost him this time? Malik was heading back to the van when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him answer. Hello? I see you, Malik. Vince's voice was cold. I'm watching you right now. Malik froze, looking around frantically. Where are you? Looking right at your cousin's van. And I know Reese is inside. Leave her alone, Malik said, walking faster now. She doesn't want anything to do with you. That's not her choice to make. Vince's voice hardened. I'm going to count to 10. If you don't bring her out, I'm coming in. And trust me, you don't. Want that? Malik broke into a run. Wait! But Vince had hung up. When Malik reached the van, he yanked the door open. We've got to move now. He's seen us. Reese scrambled out, terror in her eyes. Where is he? I don't know, but he's watching. Malik looked around desperately. We can't go in the main entrance. He'll be waiting. That's when Malik spotted Mrs. Chen, his elderly neighbor, walking toward the station entrance, pulling a small suitcase. An idea flashed in his mind. Mrs. Chen, he called out, running to her. I need your help. 2 minutes later, Malik was rushing Reese through a side entrance far from where Vince would be watching. Mrs. Chen had agreed to let Reese use her ticket. They looked similar enough, both tall with dark hair, that from a distance, a casual observer might mistake one for the other. Inside, they quickly found Daria setting up her food table. Vince is outside watching the van, Malik explained. But I think we can still get Reese on the train. Mrs. Chen gave up her ticket. The train leaves in 12 minutes, Daria said, checking her watch. Go now, Malik told Reese. Platform 3. The train to New York is already boarding. Reese looked at Malik, tears filling her eyes. I can't thank you enough. Both of you. You risked everything for me. Just go, Malik said gently. Start your new life. Be happy. Reese hugged him tight, then Daria, with Mrs. Chen's ticket clutched. In her hand, she hurried toward the platform. Malik and Daria watched from behind the catering table as Reese disappeared into the crowd of boarding passengers. No sign of Vince inside the station yet. Maybe he's still watching the van, Daria whispered hopefully. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The train's departure was announced. As it began to pull away, Malik finally breathed a sigh of relief. She made it, he said. She's gone. As they packed up Daria's catering supplies, she'd called in a family emergency to her boss, Malik kept one eye on the station entrance, half expecting Vince to burst through. But he never appeared. Only later did they learn that a security guard had spotted Vince trying to force his way into a restricted area and had detained him. By the time Vince talked his way out, the train was long gone. 3 months later, Malik received a letter with no return address. Inside was a note from Reese and a newspaper clipping. The clipping showed Vince in handcuffs. The headline read, Hotel security guard arrested in connection with disappearance of 2 women. Reese's note was simple. Malik, the police contacted me. Vince is going to prison for a long time. I wasn't the first woman he hurt, but thanks to you, I was the last. They found evidence in his apartment linked to 2 missing women from last year. You did more than save me from a bad boyfriend. You saved my life. Thank you for that last ride. It was the most important journey of my life. Rees Malik folded the letter, thinking about that rainy night and the crying woman in his back seat. Sometimes our most important journeys are the ones where a stranger becomes a hero when we need it most. That was the end of the story. Where are you listening from today? If you enjoyed this story about an ordinary Uber driver becoming an extraordinary hero, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging stories that touch your heart. Share this video with friends and family to spread awareness about domestic violence and the importance of helping those in dangerous situations. Sometimes a small act of kindness, like Malik's, can literally save a life. Thank you for listening. And remember, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they drive ride shares.